Alright, I think we're ready to kick off our regular meeting here. Officially called to order the meeting of River Ridge Development Authority. It's April 15th, 2024, and it is 1:34. We'll have our roll call. Treva Hodges, board member.
Ed Meyer, board member. Bill McCauley, board member. Chris Baxter, general counsel.
Eric Brown, board member.
Brian Lambert, board member. Jerry Ashe, executive director.
Michael Caruso, River Ridge.
Renee Carplin-Wyman, River Ridge.
Wendy D'Antesa, River Ridge.
Jill Elka, River Ridge.
Julianne Durant, River Ridge.
Eric Lauer, River Ridge. Tom Benito, River Ridge. Mark Hildenbrand, River Ridge.
Go ahead. Yes.
John Pratt from Mac Construction.
Bob Stein, United Consulting.
Taylor King, Mayor Place.
John Moss from Southern Indiana.
Donna Webb, Ivy Tech Community College.
Josh Culver, American Structure Point.
Kelly Curry, CIACC.
Caitlin Blessett, Citizens in Action, Clark County.
Thank you, everyone. Mr. Acey, can you confirm that proper notice was provided for the meetings?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
Great. We have our minutes. It's been provided on March 18th, 2024. We need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a motion by Ed Meyer,
Second.
second by Brian Lunker. There's no comments or edits, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. So I do have a few comments today. Nothing terribly long, I promise. First off, I think it's appropriate to congratulate Jerry Acey on being named Global Business First Power 50 list. Proud of Mr. Acey for that. And second, you will notice, of course, that there's been a change in membership on the board. And we would like to formally welcome Mr. Bellman to the board. And also acknowledge the retirement of Ed Fowl. And I think that it's appropriate to, didn't want a huge fanfare made, as is a custom for Mr. Fowl, but I do think that it's appropriate to mention his longstanding commitment to this board and the work that he did, being a member all the way from 1998 until this year, 26 years of service to this agency and this board. And I think it's extremely appropriate to recognize him with a sentiment expressed from Coach Bobby Knight. But when you go to look for quotes from Coach Bobby Knight that would be appropriate for the decorum that is this board meeting, it gets a little bit challenging, but I was committed to finding one in honor of Mr. Fowl. And I think that the best example was when Coach Knight talked about tomorrows. And he said that you just automatically think that tomorrow is a better day, but you can't go with that line of thinking. In order for tomorrow to be better, you have to believe in doing things better and in doing the right thing, not just hope that it will happen. And I think that is a quote that summarizes Mr. Fowle's term of service with the River Ridge Board of Directors, that he's committed to doing the right thing and making sure that all the goals were met. And because of his long-term commitment, he indeed had a major role in making things happen. And so I'm particularly thankful to Mr. Fowl for his years of service. If anybody else would say anything, you don't have to do so. But just wanted to comment on that, as he did sound tired. Hopefully enjoy the golf games. All right. Moving on, we'll start with our executive director's report. Mr. Acey.
Thank you. Most of my reports in executive session will be brief on our 2024 bond band issue. The proposal, request for proposals should have gone out on Friday, and we're asking for those proposals from financial institutions to be returned by the end of April, and we're targeting hopefully by the middle of May to select an institution for our 2024 bond issue. And typically, I think, Mayor, that we've had delegated to the finance committee, to review those and make the selection on behalf of the board. So I think we need to do a motion on that.
Mr. Piper, we need a motion on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
I'll make that motion.
we have a motion by Mr. McCauley to make that to the finance committee. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Meyer.
say to the public that that committee consists of Phil McCullough and myself.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you very much. A couple things on personnel, we do have a couple of open positions that we, have, in our organizational chart that was approved a couple of years ago. And, we are in the process of filling those. One being, actually a replacement, for our, senior equipment operator, and the other being a, assistant director of the water operations. And then Wendy, and her team have a job description for a part-time, person to help with the communications, and she may have more to say about that in a few minutes. So we're working on that, hopefully I'll get, those, ready by the end of the month. I have, as usual, a list of things that, our financial consultant, Andrew Lamb has been working on the last month. Water operations continue, to, increase, and, our loss rate, continues to be in the very low range. So congratulations to Mark Hildebrand and our water operations on the service that we're providing, for our water, operations. Potential resolutions from Mayor are listed, and then, that's all I have to say at this time, unless there's some questions for me.
Any questions for Mr. Acey? Moving on, we'll have our Chief Director of Engineering and Operations, Mr. Williamson.
Thank you. Just go quickly through some high points in my report. We did talk in the executive session about some of the information we received from our study that was done with our partnership through OmniTrax, so I won't go through that anything here. Water, the treatment improvements phase 2, still working through that. All the parts are here now, so that's a positive. I know what's going on here. Recently, they're working on the high surface pumps and the water treatment plant. Those all 3 were getting replaced. Working on the replacement pumps in the wells to get more capacity there. We're doing some work at the water booster pump station, both River Ridge work that has been planned for several years now, and then work associated with this improvement. So we're still, and I said in here, hopefully before the middle part of the year, we'll have that done. We're in need of it because that's when our water usages tend to go up with irrigation, and then with new customers signing on. And so we're hopeful we'll get that done before the middle part of the year. A lot of time here in the last month, Eric and I are working together on this, but we've had quite a few submissions for site construction plans for the different projects out here. Last week alone, we received 3 new submissions in for track 5B and 13D, which are both speculative properties, infill properties that were purchased by Summit Construction right after the first of the year. One for track 14G, which is actually a speculative developer, but they do have a tenant in mind. They have not closed on that property yet, so it's still under a confidentiality agreement. And then in the last month, we provided comments for the phase 1 construction plans for Meta. We had already approved the mass grading plans for that site, and that's what they're working on right now, but then all the improvements, the buildings, the roads, and everything associated with phase 1. And then also, the other thing that we provided comments on last week was the America Place Track 16A, which is the property there on International Drive. They've got their first phase in planning of a 537,000 square foot building, so we've reviewed those plans and provided comments to their consultant. So that's been a lot of the work that I've been trying to coordinate some of those things, working with the different developers to make sure that we're getting them all the information and then reviewing the site construction plans and working with Eric through that. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Mr. Hildebrand? Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll have our Chief Director of Corporate Strategy and External Affairs, Ms. Jessup.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. As we have completed the first quarter of the year, we've got some good things to report in terms of looking back at the end of 2023. Let me start by drawing your attention to a new document that's in your packet. That is the first quarter report card based upon the strategic communications plan that we had submitted to you back in February. As you can see, we are trying to track the activities that we are proactively pursuing for marketing and communications. And the color-coded system will give you a quick idea of whether or not we're on track, if an item has been completed, if we're behind, or if for some reason we pulled the plug on a project. For the first quarterly report of the year, I'm happy to say that most of our action items are on track, and we are working on some of the others to get those up so that at the end of the second quarter, we'll be able to give you a better idea of how we're doing. But the more exciting news from this first quarter is in the last week of March, we were able to complete and issue both the 2023 annual report. A copy of that is on your table, and it is going to be mailed. It would be printed as a mailer, and it will be sent out to the interested parties list that we have, and of course we'll make other copies of that report available. The economic impact analysis was also completed the last week of March, and as we're excited about the activities that have been tracked and where we are showing significant progress and impact throughout the community. We issued a press release to just sort of draw attention to the economic impact analysis and some of the numbers, and I wanted to take just a moment to go over some of those big highlights. In 2023, the River Ridge Commerce Center produced nearly $3 billion of economic output throughout southern Indiana. So $2.932 billion of economic impact throughout our region. Business activity generated, today's tax day, right? So business activity generated $48.4 million in total tax revenue for state and local entities. Something very positive to report there. Businesses that call River Ridge home expanded employment footprint, and we now have 18,558 employees that are benefiting from River Ridge. 12,000 of those are within the site here at River Ridge, and another 6,500 are supported throughout the community. Those employees are bringing home an estimated $884 million in total labor income. So bringing those dollars into the community, they're spending them on cars and groceries and mortgages and all of the things that they purchase, generating that economic activity that we are so proud of. The Development Authority continued to expand our infrastructure, and amongst other projects, we provided $6 million in new roads and another $6.2 million in improved utilities. So kudos to the team here for making that happen. And private development tends to follow public investment. That's why we do what we do. Private development of just under $91 million occurred in 2023, estimated to bring an additional 2.3 million square feet to the River Ridge Commerce Center once completed. So the positive news on economic impact is that as the charge of the River Ridge Development Authority is to replenish the economic activity lost when the Army left the facility, we are now can say we're on our way, and we are tracking that on an annual basis. So hats off and hats on the back to all those that made that happen. I'd also like to report, not that we had direct impact with this, but between Greg Pfeiffer, myself, and Josh Staten, along with Jill Oka, we have had lots of activity with the Our Southern Indiana Regional Development Authority. Hopefully you saw last week that the RDA brought home another $45 million READY grant from the IEDC that was announced last Thursday. So pats on the back to all of those folks as well. The highest amount awarded to any region was $45 million, and we were one of 6 regions to share in that type of a celebration as well. And as Jerry mentioned, we do have a final candidate and an offer letter to what we are calling our social media and graphic arts intern. And if everything goes well, she will start next Monday, 10 to 15 hours a week. and we will bring in some folks, but somebody that's gonna really focus in on, helping us make sure that our online and media presence communicates all of the wonderful work that's being done here at River Ridge. With that, I conclude my report. I'm happy to answer any questions. Yes, sir.
I was gonna thank you too, all this is great, bringing in $45 million this area. And it's been hard work on your part, or on everybody's part, like you said, all of them, because they don't just hand it out, me handing it out. I think it showed a good cause to get it and everything, and I think the whole group's really worked hard to do that. Because this is the first, how much have you gotten up to this point, do you know?
We received the $50 million maximum in 2021. And then this year, the maximum request that you could ask for was $75 million. And so I believe that the RDA members, Greg, you can agree or disagree, but I think that the RDA members were a bit disappointed that they had asked for $75 million and only received $45 million. But if you put it into perspective, we were awarded $45 million that we didn't have when we woke up the same morning, so that was a good way of recognizing that there was something to celebrate.
Good job on it, Jill. Everybody else.
Other questions for Wendy? Thank you.
Thank you.
We have our Senior Director of Planning and Operations, Mr. Goodson.
As brief as I can be. Let's focus on the environmental first. We're currently undergoing due diligence studies up in Authority just to make ready for future development. One of the bigger boxes to check up there is the jurisdictional determination, and we are far enough along now to prognosticate that should be wrapped up by mid-late summer of this year. So that'll be a great big box for us to check. Also, in terms of the bat habitat up there mitigation, we do have a meeting in June with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and that is huge in that these guys are now willing to come to the table and talk to us about options up there. So we're looking forward to that. Moving on down to equipment, we're looking at different ways to spread some of the many piles of mulch that we had up on the north end of the property where we have previously cleared. And one potential option is a forest mulcher spreader. We're actually going to review that tomorrow, and if it does what it says it's going to do, we may look at purchasing one, and that would lead to a resolution in our May meeting. So there's more to come on that, but we need to look at it. Going down to infrastructure improvements, I think I've mentioned something about this before, but we're looking at a case study for street lights and parking lot lighting. That will be installed at the end of May this year. We're going to have one out here on this parking lot, and then we're going to do two out here at the entrance into the parking area here for both the county and for River Ridge. But we want to see these in operation before we make this big investment and make a determination on that. And marketing, we're up to 27 client RFIs for 2024, so not insignificant. One big thing to note here, though, is the 2024 project reviews and approvals. This is a record in terms of the amount of projects coming in and being approved. We're up to 8 individual approvals already this year, just from the schematic and development plan aspect. So that's a big deal. We're pretty proud of that. Let's see, moving down site demolition and abatement. On the north end, the bands have started to fly, so the tree removal is on hold until fall this year, additional. The phase 6 demolition, we anticipate that they'll wrap up at the end of second quarter 2024. Other miscellaneous project stuff that's going on out here, bus stops and sidewalks. Construction's underway on that, and Mr. Caruso can probably speak more to that a little bit later. One other important thing is our development standards and CCRs. We're in the process of updating those again. So each step, each process brings us a little closer to having a better document. So we're looking forward to getting this thing wrapped up. With that, I'll happily answer any questions the board may have.
Of course I do. The company that's busting up the rocks over here is the best way to do it. is that to be sold, or is that a company that's gonna keep it, reusing it, or?
We'll reuse it there on site.
Okay.
Once you get rock down to a size like that, it becomes a viable commodity for
They're
us.
really,
So we're. yeah.
they're knocking out some rocks.
Oh, yeah, they're doing everything they're supposed to do within the time frame they're supposed to do it, so, we're pretty happy in that regard.
We need most of that for the base to the meadow entrance road.
Okay. And secondly, the whole place out here looks really nice, and I think the other night, there were more people taking pictures out here with the, I think it was just prom.
Oh, yeah.
Tons of people out here, hardly any parking left, which speaks well that people wanna come here to take their pictures.
So that was one of the questions I was going to ask you, what do you think of the lights out here? I mean, we're working on those, we just got them back on last Friday, we had an accident out here, they knocked out a transformer, so got one of our lights, so we were able to get some of this stuff back up, but we just look good for the most part.
And overall, the whole place looks nice, but this really looks exceptional.
Okay.
Companies,
Oh,
they keep the
like-
trash picked up, you know, it's like this, you live in a little bit on it.
Yeah, well, we do.
Yeah, you have a landfill.
We take a lot of pride in keeping this nice out here.
And it shows both.
It's no one person, it's definitely a team effort on this, so, well, thank you very much, we'll pass that along to.
We had a pretty decent crowd for the eclipse too out here. There's quite a few people that parked over here in the parking lot, set up chairs, and the county folks and us were out here in the back kind of looking at it too, so we were able to enjoy it. We're just hoping for more buildings out here so more people can enjoy it.
And so was the closest too.
Actually, I was in Florida, and you couldn't see it very well. It was nice down there.
It was warm.
Yeah, it was warm, yeah, it was warm and nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I believe Mr. Statman's report is provided in, so they can be here today. We'll have our Director of Construction and GIS, Mr. Cruz.
Good afternoon. Start with infrastructure improvement projects. Penny Martin Lane Phase 1, the remaining work that was, we were waiting on the contractor to finish that up is complete. So that project is now 100% complete. Will be removed from our report next month. Jim Lewis Roadway Phase 1, the subgrade stabilization and storm sewer completion is happening as we speak. They're moving quite well on that project. Penny Martin Access Road is the little road that connects Penny Martin to cul-de-sac and to Miami Trail. And that's subgrade stabilization is underway right now. In fact, the stabilizing contractor is making their way from job to job. They like to schedule things and be efficient, so they're working on all of our projects in the north end. Tom mentioned our bus stops and sidewalks project earlier. They are actually, they poured the sidewalk and curb out to a repair section on Paul Garrett this morning, and they'll be moving back to Salem Road and finishing out towards Trey Street. But they're working on just about every road that we have out here, Safety, Trey, Hilton Drive, and getting their sidewalks and bus stops completed. That brings us to Jim Lewis Roadway Phase 2, and there again, subgrade is being prepared for stabilization. Our RRCC South Water Main project, they've gotten roughly 400-ish feet in the ground already, and that's in Utica, coming up the hill. The 90-foot bore from under a creek from Station 102, 10110 is complete, and they're currently working to connect where they left off with the main line from the bore, and connect those 2 points. They've moved up here to Corporate Drive, which is just beyond that bend. They're working on another bore to go into the roadway. The rock crushing is underway, and They seem to be doing what they, what the contract requires of them. In my GIS and non-specific project-related activities, we've been working diligently with utility contractors to maintain our things looking nice, making sure that we get after everybody that is putting things in the ground, making sure that we know where they are for the future, and making sure that they put stuff back the way they found it.
That's great.
I'll be pleased to answer questions, but otherwise that concludes my report.
There again, the 90-foot bore, they make it look easy. I don't know how they do it, Mark. It went right through it
I don't believe.
When you go under a creek with what, 30-inch bore or something like that, you think it'd be years to do that.
I don't believe they encountered rock. I believe it was a soil-only bore, so that helps significantly.
Is the water main project on schedule?
Yes.
I may ask you that periodically for the public record.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lauer, our engineering project manager.
Good afternoon. We'll work our way through the list here. Corbett Drive Access Road Phase 2. So there's two parts to this project. The first of which is extending sanitary sewer from the Gateway lift station to track 21C, which is right across the lake here. We've gotten plans in that we reviewed, and we're at the meeting tomorrow to go over those, but we think we're getting close to the final design on that and look to bid that in the coming months. Patrol Road realignment, we keep working through some different design challenges there. We're trying to make sure we're prepared for the future on that, and HWC continues through their design. Penny Martin Phase 3, we've had a lot of discussion with that internally, making sure that we have that road exactly where we need it in the future to make sure we accommodate for developments that could be up there and different projects. The Jim Lewis intersection improvements project, that is out for bid. Well, it's actually, it's out for bid as of Saturday. We look to award that at the May board meeting. That is the connection from Jim Lewis onto State Road 62. And then the Phase 7 demolition project was awarded at last month's board meeting to Innovative Demolition Services. We held a pre-construction meeting on that last Thursday, and the contractor has been released for work. Miscellaneous here, as Mark said, we've been working on construction plans for various tracks. I like to think I'm getting a little bit better at those each time they come through, but with Mark's help, we're getting through those. And then with things turning green, I'm starting to fly the drone a little bit more whenever it's not raining, which is pretty rare lately, but today was a nice day, so I was able to get out this morning and start to work on the updated aerial image for this year. We've done a lot of changes in the past several months, so there's a lot to see now. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Lauer? Thank you. We'll move into our resolutions. First up, we have resolution 15-2024. Mr. Acey, I'm presenting that, and Mr. Collins, thank you, John.
Thank you. So back in 2017, which I guess is almost 7 years ago now, the City of Jeffersonville Fire Department approached us about potential site for a new fire station to be located inside River Ridge to serve not just River Ridge, but also some of the surrounding areas around River Ridge. At that time, we proposed a site, about 2 acres site, if I remember correctly, here at the intersection of International Drive, just down the road, and Salem Road, right beside our old landfill locations. Earlier this year, the fire chief, Sean, came and asked us if we would consider another site a little closer to more centrally located and closer to Highway 62, State Road 62. And so we got with Mark and Tom, and we figured out the best potential site we could come up with was an area here. This is on the River Ridge Parkway and Trace Street to carve off a little over a 2-acre site in this corner at this point. And this is a site that's gently sloping, but still would leave a really good site for another industrial development adjacent to it that we still have available. And we felt like that would be at least impactful, you know, on our development plans, and we proposed that to the chief, and he has accepted that as our offer. And this is the official request from the chief for that, for us to donate, commit that site for a new fire station. I didn't have this in time to put in more back on. So, we respectfully request the board approve.
Mr. McCollum?
Yes, this is resolution number 15-2024, and I will make the motion to grant Jeffersonville's request for a donation and conveyance of a 2.8-acre tract for use of construction and operation of a new fire station.
I will second that. All in favor, say aye.
I got a little discussion.
Okay.
The only discussion I have on it, and I think it's great that we do that, but I think we probably ought to just make sure we limit it to the land and not, it kind of says operation, and I don't know that we want to get into, if they do ask us for funding of staff and stuff like that, I think, you know, we should pass along it. Here's what we can do for you, and then it'd be your responsibility for staffing and things like that. I hate to see us get drug into a city matter of operating a thing on it. Is there any way we could do that? You see what, does it make sense, or maybe it doesn't make sense, or?
Mr. Parker, is there a concern about
If we do anything besides this donation, I think we'll have to come back and adopt another resolution approving a contract that outlines what we're agreeing to undertake. So I don't think we're making any commitment today.
Okay, good. I hate to come back all of a sudden, but we need to farm it, we want you to pay
I
two of them.
I don't disagree with your concerns, but I don't think this obligates us to anything.
All right, thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. And resolution 16-2024, Mr. Pfeiffer, I believe you're presenting that. Mr. Meyer, have you on?
Yeah, I'm going to be very brief. I basically drafted the resolution to formally adopt the regulations that are contained in Exhibit A, and work with Mr. Vitico to get this done. So he's really the author of Exhibit A. So I'll let him address what we're trying to do here that we didn't think was adequately addressed in our written operating procedures beforehand.
Mr. Vento?
Just Michael.
Oh, Mr.
Caruso.
Have anything else to address?
Yeah.
And just basic, I guess
resolution number 16-2024 is a resolution approving regulations governing construction activities within dedicated easements and rights of ways in the River Ridge Commerce Center. Looking for a motion.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. McCollum. So basically, all of these things have already been done
Well,
in our right of way, we're just codifying it.
We
making it-
had disagreements with people here saying, well, I didn't know that. So
Okay.
it's just an effort to have a single document that says that avoids that kind of confusion in the future.
Yep. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Resolution 17-2024, Mr. Hillenbrand is presenting this one, and I have his one.
Thank you. So we had since our last meeting, we had a meeting with a potential industrial, commercial prospect that expressed interest in tract, 12I, which 12I is located on Jacobs Way. I'm pointing to the map up here. It's a 13.5 acre site that has topographic issues with it. This is one of the, about 8 months ago, we started kind of putting it out to developers and other folks that there were smaller sites available within River Ridge. I think there was when the board passed the spec moratorium, a lot of those folks thought, well, we can't do spec. Well, it was a certain area, and all those infill sites, you know, obviously most of what we've done here in the past is 20 acres or more. Most of these were under 20 acres, fit anywhere from 150 to all the way down to 100,000, maybe a little bit less, 80,000 square feet. So we got a lot of interest on that. So we a lot of the purchase and sale agreements that the board has seen here in the last year are related to that effort. And this is another one. It's got some topographic issues. It slopes down toward the road this way, slopes down toward Windsor Creek this way. So there's a kind of a small area up on top of the hill there that is really the most developable portion of that. But this developer was looking to do a 60,000 square foot building. We talked with them. We gave them the going rate for property at River Ridge was $135,000 an acre, and they accepted that. We did talk with them because of the topography of the land, potential site development credit, and we've done that in the past. The board has done that in the past with developments here because of most of those sites that were remaining do have some configuration issues or topographic issues or other issues associated with them that will cause it be a little bit more expensive to develop. So what we're asking for here is the approval of the board to move forward with the to move forward with a purchase and sale agreement, and along with that, we would be working on a potential site credit and any other kind of development obligations that go along with that. So I would ask for consideration from the board for resolution 17-2024.
Make a motion to adopt resolution number 17-2024, authorizing the executive director to negotiate agreement to sell tract 12I to the confidential industrial commercial prospect for $135,000 with the potential site development credit.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Meyer. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. It's unanimous. Thank you. And then you're on deck again for resolution 18-2024.
So when we do have purchase and sale agreements, obviously we're responsible for providing the infrastructure to serve those. So track 15F is one we've been working on for quite a long time now. It's on Paul Garrett Avenue, right behind Kenco, right next to CTEI on the site. This site, again, has challenges with it. There's a low area that runs through here. There's not a huge development area, but it sits up on top of the hill. The issue we had with this one is all the utilities were in place for this site from previous work, except sanitary sewer. I was working on a potential easement for this property, and I didn't get far enough with the owner of that property to get anything accomplished, but we do have an easement that runs alongside this road. And again, topography, this is a high point of the site, and obviously sanitary sewer you don't want to put on a high point. So what we proposed and what we thought was, and worked with the consultant on, the best option to serve that site would be
a small lift station that's located on that site, and an force main that would come across River Ridge Parkway and tie into an existing, gravity sanitary sewer. So that's what we worked with our consultant. Interior staff kind of came up with the idea and then worked with our consultant directly to get a proposal. So we asked for a proposal from Strand Associates, to do that design work for us. The funding for this project, for the design portion of it will be TIF. This is one that could potentially be, when we get into construction, this one could be paid for by the 2024 ban. But on the design side, we typically keep it in TIF to start with. They propose survey, geotechnical, design of the actual improvements, and then permitting assistance, bidding assistance, which we're doing a lot of the bidding work in-house now, with the addition of Eric, and then construction administration services for a contract total of $81,750. I request consideration from the board for approval of resolution number 18-2024.
I'll make the motion that we accept staff recommendation and engage with Strand Associates in an amount not to exceed $80,750 for these sewer improvements. $81,750 for this one. Do I have a second? Seconded by Mr. Meyer. Question, is this small lift station, is this only for that site or other
Yes.
sites? Extremely small.
Yeah, all the other sites around it are already served, so it's just that one site. And the plan, my plan for it would be to turn that lift station operation over to the actual developer, because it's only gonna serve them. The force main portion would be maintained by the city, but, the actual lift station itself would be maintained by the developer.
Other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
And Ms. Durrett has our controller's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You will see in your preliminary packet all of the financials for ending quarter ending March 31. This month we have claims in the amount of $2,500,447.89. We are utilizing $598,000 in 2022 ban, $1.2 million of TIF funds, and $656,000 in operating funds. Any questions?
Yeah, the $26,000 of Cincinnati insurance, is that just general liability? Is that the annual premium for just general liability?
That is,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That is for, this building.
Okay. Condo association.
And that was billed to the county, and what you'll pay.
So we pay 1/3, that county pays 2/3. Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Other questions?
They knew what they're talking about. TIF seems to be going down, but we're using quite a bit of TIF. That's what it's for, I guess. I guess we need to keep an eye on that.
Excellent.
We're gonna convert most of our, so a lot, as I said, a lot of our design projects started prior to the ban resolution that was passed a couple of months ago. We can't use those funds. I mean, I guess we could switch them over, but we're just gonna use TIF, but when they convert into construction projects and anything kind of going forward, we're gonna use ban proceeds to pay for construction projects.
Thank you. Other questions? Having a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Meyer.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Richard. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. It's approved unanimously, thank you. Mr. Piper, do you have an attorney's report, please?
Come down.
At this time, we would open the floor for comments from the board. Nope. Any staff members have any comments? And the members from the gallery? None? Mrs. Kirby?
Yes.
Good one?
For the board, excuse me. Let me. Sorry, I can be louder. I'll be happy to step up.
thank you all. Sorry, thank you, you have to step up. So I know, Canadian Solar closed Friday. And I wondered if now then I can get the contract as.
Emailed to you about 2 hours ago.
Did you? You're awesome. And you said that, perhaps I could get the MSDS on Canadian Solar, is that going to be available?
I'm not sure what that is.
It's, the contents of the materials that they're gonna be processing, what they contain. It's a safety.
I don't know
About
I don't
that?
know if we have that.
We don't typically get those from, it would be associated with any permitting that they have, the River Ridge Development Authority doesn't get those.
Okay.
I think
So
when we
they
talked
answered-
last week, I think you mentioned.
I had asked, yeah.
We talked about, potentially with the city, with the sewer department
Yeah.
on what their discharge.
So go down there after the permit.
And if they have any environmental permitting associated
Oh.
with their operations, I think they'll have to do that through the state
Yeah.
Department of Environmental Management.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
And, I haven't looked, but are those lights that are being, talked about, downward directional lighting,
Are you talking about for the bollard and street lights?
street lights?
Yes, I mean, we're very cognizant of light pollution out
Yeah.
here, and it's a pet peeve of mine, so we
Okay,
always
good.
make sure that everything is focused down. And if you look through our development standards, we actually have a requirement for photometrics to be 0 at the property lines.
Oh, that right, okay.
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
Okay, and then perhaps I'll mention also the packets that you all get, for this board meeting. Is there a way then that could be put online so that we can look at those packets also?
I know of other entities that do that, there's no prohibition, it's your call.
Yeah, we get them ahead of Jeff City, we get them ahead of the county council now, I believe that just started. Yeah, so we can be better informed and read up, say for instance, the resolutions, even though we know they're not passed yet. Okay, so just a suggestion that, make them available online, or maybe have several here, because I guess I'll be around for a while.
It's really just resolution staff reports.
Yeah, and then like, Ms. Chester's report, how about that, would that something I would have liked to have looked at,
We'll
obviously.
try to get those out to the board.
And I'm assuming the annual reports and so forth are online anyway.
Yes, I'm sure the annual report is online. You may have to give us a month to figure out how to put the packets online, but if the board is okay,
Right. I understand.
It's not something I can step upstairs and just gonna take more time.
Okay, yeah, no, thank you, thank you, thank you.
So if it's the board's consensus to do this, I would ask that you give Renee until the end of the day on Friday to get that done, so her job's not made impossible.
End of the day, Friday before the meeting.
And so forth, like the agenda also.
Yeah.
Say that.
agenda is always, or should be out there, I will say always.
Okay, okay.
You can probably get on you have a list of email addresses you send it to, correct?
Just the agenda and the notice. and-
Yes, so I guess if you want to just make sure, give Renee your email address.
Or that.
Yeah.
I'll do both. I'll look for it online and then I'll give you one. Okay, that's all. Thank you all. Thank you. Other comment? Okay.
Caitlin Blessed. I hope that most of you all have received, the letter that Citizens in Action Clark County sent out over the weekend, and, just wanted to express a lot of, gratitude to Ms. Chesser, Mr. Holmgren for, having us come in last Friday to better explain the process, because this quasi-governmental thing is a little bit, difficult for, some of us to understand who don't have experience with it, so, we're under a better impression now that, the contract with Canadian Solar, the purchase agreement had already occurred in October, and this was simply the last step. So we were, a little bit too late to give input on that, and actually we will not be able to give input on companies purchasing because of non-disclosure agreements. So that's understood, but I would just like to express that the, goals of Holcomb's IEDC might not always reflect the people of Clark County. And from my understanding, the purpose of the existence of River Ridge Development Authority is primarily to the citizens of Clark County. So although we understand that, they call themselves Canadian Solar, they are very much a Chinese company, many subsidiaries in China. It's all over the SEC reports. I mean, there's no doubt that this is a Chinese company. Maybe it doesn't meet the exact legal definition of what we have in House Bill 1183, but it's not an America First company. So I would like to express my strong desire that when you are advocating for our residents in Clark County, that you keep in mind that we prefer America First companies here, Hoosier First companies if possible. I think there's plenty of American companies that we can support, and I'm just highly disappointed in this particular company being chosen because I think that they compete with American solar manufacturers. And I've got a lot of other concerns about the potential, labor, the materials that are being used, whether they are circumvented in certain areas of China or not. We look forward to learning more about the company, but I just wanted to express that. And as representatives, I hope that you all will keep Clark County residents, like regular people, like myself and my family, in mind when you're making these deals, because we don't see it coming. We can't see it coming. Otherwise, we could do a research on every company. Also, it was very difficult to get a hold of many of you. We don't have contact information, so if we are permitted to get information to you all, it'd be nice to have some contact information, maybe an email or something online. I know that our mayor of Jeffersonville basically refused to connect us with our representative. He didn't even tell us that we didn't have a representative because Ned Fowl has stepped down. He just said he didn't want to intrude on you all. So I wasn't able to contact my Jeffersonville representative. So thank you, Mr. Linford and Ms. Hodges, for getting our stuff where it needed to go. And we appreciate that it was taken seriously enough to have a response and a conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
Yep.
Motion made by Mr. Linford, seconded by Mr. Bell. All in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. We're adjourned.